So, following a point at Manchester City and then a superb performance at home to Villa 11 days ago, the Tigers are starting to find their feet in the relegation battle. And they will need to be on top form for today's genuine six-pointer against QPR, who currently sit just outside the drop zone. Last time out, the Hoops also recorded a win, picking up 3 points away to Sunderland to draw the Mackems back into the battle for the Premier League survival. Today should be a classic, and hopefully for the Tigers fans it will be a great six-pointer. Joining us today to talk you through the events of recent weeks as well as today's game, we have a couple of legends. From Hull, our very own Roy of the Rovers, with over 70 clubs for his hometown, including that goal at Wembley in '08, club ambassador, Mr. Dean Windass. And representing the Arse today is a former England international who played David Platt through on goal for England's penalty claim that was turned down in the 2-0 defeat against the Netherlands in that infamous game in Rotterdam, October 1993 that was. He had made more than 160 appearances on the blue and white of QPR before moving on to Spurs. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Andy Sinton. Andy, let's start with you. Penalty and a red card all day, wasn't it? Poor Graham Taylor.
I need both of them. Need them. Yeah, poor Graham Taylor. Yeah, it still rankles me a little bit. Yeah, it was a penalty that night in Rotterdam. Put the ball through for Platty, got brought down by Koeman. 2 minutes later, he scored the free kick that ultimately knocked us out, cost Graham his job. So yeah, not so good memories. I was at QPR a couple of weeks ago and saw Mr. Koeman, and I very, very nearly mentioned that that night or that day, but refrained from it. First of all, could I say it's great to be here up in Hull. It's the first time I've been to this wonderful stadium. I played at the old one many years ago. I think we had a good night that night, beating you 3-0. But it's great to be here. Got a cracking game today, massive for both clubs. So as I say, hopefully win for could go either way. Could be a really good game, or it could both teams might counteract each other. But it's great to be here. Hope you enjoy your day, and let's hope we see a good game.
So yeah, that was 93 that game, and for those of you who remember, this was when they were doing the fly on the wall commentary with Graham Taylor, and he was famous for saying, "Do I not like that?" Do you think he regrets doing that programme?
I don't know. You would have probably only Graham will answer that question. For as a player, I wasn't too happy about cameras being in the dressing room. I think Dean will back me up here. I think that's quite private. What goes on in there should stay on there, not broadcast to everyone. So I wasn't for it. Why he did it, I don't know. But it certainly didn't show him in a great light. So maybe in hindsight, maybe he did regret it.
Maybe he did. So what a few weeks for QPR. Harry goes, Chief Executive resigns, caretaker Chris Ramsey appointed until the end of the season. A win up at Sunderland. You guys do know, you like a drama, don't you?
It's QPR for you. That's been a strange few weeks, what with Harry resigning, circumstances, timing, a lot being said about that, but you know, Chris, I know Chris quite well. He'll go in, he'll get them organised. Good friend of Les is overseeing the whole club. Got to try and revamp it from top to bottom. But yeah, it's been a strange sort of few weeks. But we got our monkey off our back a couple of weeks ago up with Sunderland. That away win, our away form has been horrendous. Our home form has been quite good. I've seen most of the home games, including the game against yourselves. First game of the season where I thought we were a little bit unlucky. Charlie missed a penalty near the end, but as I say, we've got to start winning today. So I just saw the QPR press guys that said, would we take a point? Would both teams take a point? And there's a question for you. I think both teams really have to win today, particularly Hull. So it's got the makings of being a good game.
Well, we'll ask you your predictions at the end. Do we call you Mr. Ambassador now, Dino?
I've been called worse.
So you made your Hull debut for Hull against QPR, and in fact against this man here. Not a bad player, was he?
I just said to Andy, I made my debut for Hull, 91 it was, at Loftus Road. I actually named Andy's team, but I couldn't name my team. And I remember giving my ticket to my dad. He put it in the frame, and listen, they was in the old Division 1 then in them days, and they had a fantastic team, like a Premier League team, and they passed us to death, and it was like, welcome to professional football at Windass, because you played against the Ray Wilkins, the Andy Sintons, Ian Holloway's, Simon Barker, Les Ferdinand. So no, it was a great experience for me. It was one of them where, well, this is how good these players are, and obviously we've been good friends over the years as well. So it's nice to get him down and represent Queen's Park Rangers.
Yeah. Well, on to today. Does the gaffer stick or twist today? Diarmi has raised a claim for a place, and Anders is obviously keen to get back onto the pitch and rediscover some of the form we saw in September and October. What will Steve Bruce and Mike Phelan be thinking about doing today, do you think?
Well, I'm not going to tell you nothing, but I think Steve will be quite happy that if it's not broke, don't fix it. Basically, he got a great result last out. He brought a striker in, scored in his debut. So I'm thinking that if everybody's got a clean bill of health, he'll keep the same team today. And like Andy said, we spoke last week. It's a must-win game. It's one of them games where QPR come away. I think if Andy walks away from here with a point, I think QPR will be happy. But like I've said all along, right through the season, you've got to win your home games. Teams who are around about you, QPR are going to be round about us at the end of the season. And I said, obviously, if we get beat today, you're not going to get relegated. And if we win today, we're not going to be safe. Because there's a lot of points, there's a lot of games at stake. But I know my prediction, and it's a lovely day, and I'm in a good mood. So.
Well, we're not going to ask you just yet.
No.
We won 1-0 back in August. How good would a repeat be of that score?
Well, listen, I think from now to the end of the season, Steve, it'll be one of them where, it's not about performance now. I don't know how many games there's left, but it's not about performance, it's about results. And if you play poorly and and these people walk away and we've won 1 or 2-0, nobody cares about how well you've played or how bad you've played. You've won the game, they have a pint and they go, yeah, we've won today, and that's it. So, Steve will be looking forward to today's game. I think if he just keep the same team, I think that it'll be strong. They'll be looking forward to it after last week's result, and they'll be full of confidence.
Andy, just 1 point separates the two teams today, with your boys just outside of the drop zone on goal difference. You've been down there at times during your career. How do you prepare yourself for a game like this today?
Like Dean says, as a player, you look forward to every game, but these are the games where if you win today, it's massive, but there's still 13 or 14 games to go. If you get beat, there's still 13 or 14 games to go, but psychologically it can damage you against one of your rivals. I think the players, both sides, they'll be sitting hotels, buses, just change rooms, buoyed by the fact that they're both coming off a good win. Us up at Sunderland 2-0, yourselves haven't beaten Villa, and getting a great point in Man City after your not so good game against Newcastle, my hometown.
We don't
team.
mention that one.
But I think both teams will go in, strange to say when you're third or fourth or fifth bottom of the league, both teams will go in confident, I think. Both teams will think they can win, know they can win. It's just who turns up on the day. It could be decided by a set play, a bad decision, a mistake. I think there's enough on the pitch for both sides to be optimistic, but obviously, where I'm pitching my sort of...
Yeah, we know. We'll come to that in a minute. So you represented your country on 12 occasions in the early 90s. There will be plenty of English talent there vying for place on the field today, including Dawson, Huddleston and Livermore. Who will you know from watching another of your old teams, obviously Spurs? Can these lads help keep the Tigers up, do you think?
Yeah, without a doubt. I'm not just saying it because I'm in Hull today and working alongside Dean. Hull have got enough on their side. Got some good players. A little bit goal shy, but as Dean said, they brought a striker in the last time, scored goals. I've actually been a little bit surprised from the Hampstead. I've only seen you play once. That was at QPR on the opening day of the season. A little bit surprised that you've struggled so much, really, but it's take this the right way. There's a few bad teams around us both, and I think Hull will stay up, and I think QPR will stay up.
And just finally about Charlie Austin, obviously there was rumours about him signing for Hull City back in summer of 2013. Just how good a player is Charlie Austin, and do you think he could represent England in the coming months?
Well, first of all, with Charlie, it's just a magnificent story, and it's a story that all youngsters or anyone who's playing at a non-league level should hang on to. You know, it's your dream's never over. You need a little bit of luck. You need someone to take a chance on you, and Charlie Austin's a prime example. He's a goal scorer, like the man to my right. I think he'll score goals at any level he plays at. Hence, I think he's got 13 or 14 QPR's top scorer. If he hadn't got injured a couple of weeks ago, he'll be in and around the England squad. So he's done great, and a lot of QPR's hopes of staying up depend on Charlie Austin.
Great, well this is the point where we put you next on the block. Dino, you went for a draw I think last time around. Your prediction for today?
Well, like I said, because obviously, listen, this is going to be a good game, this is going to be a good game. The Man Cities, the Liverpools, the Arsenals, you can be up for these games, but this game's going to be a good game. Like Andy said, they've just had a massive win. They've changed the staff, everything's gone differently for them. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 win today.
2-0 to Hull City. Andy? Oh, yeah, we did that. Yeah, I think there's one table over there somewhere, but they're not very noisy, so it's okay.
I'm in Hull. I've got to get out of Hull tonight, but no, I've got to stay with my team. I'm buoyed by what's happened over the last sort of couple of weeks, the changes, so I'm going to go. I think it'll be tight. I'm going to go 2-1 QPR.
Ooh. Well, we'll see at the end of the game, because hopefully you'll come back and talk to us at the end of the game. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Andy Sinton and our very own Dean Windass.